Welcome back. Well, we had him on last month in the midst of the drama surrounding Qantas, but former Virgin CEO Paul Scurrah has plenty more to say on other issues too. As the CEO of Pacific National, he runs Australia's largest private rail freight operator. Paul, welcome back to the show. Really great to see you.
Hi,
nice
Erin.
to have you in person as well.
Great to be here.
Cost of living pressures, how is that impacting the demand for goods and services, the supply?
Yeah, I think the entire economy is seeing a softening at the moment. So we partner with some of the biggest brands who rely on us to take their goods from one city to another to stock their shelves or to stock their warehouses. And they're all reporting anywhere between 7 and 10% reduction compared to last year. So there is some uncertainty. We're all hoping that there's a big last minute spree for Christmas, which might help. And the other thing they're reporting is not necessarily less purchasing of product, but maybe downgrading the brand and saving a bit of money.
So can you guys look elsewhere if you don't have as much work to do? Is there something you can fall back on? You've got a big staff and a lot of vehicles, a lot of trains.
Yeah, we do. Luckily, we're pretty diverse. We've got a few, what we'd say, are natural hedges in our business. So when right now the coal market, in fact, is going very well, which is good for the economy. So when the grain is down, which it is at the moment, we can switch our focus to coal, and that helps a little bit, but we'd rather all be going really well at the same time, and we'd all be very happy then if that was the case.
In an ideal world. The government's decarbonisation plan, is that a level playing field? And I suspect I know the answer to this.
Well, we don't think it is. The safeguard mechanism makes it a little bit harder for rail to actually compete with road. Now, when you know, and this is the government's own rail network operator, ARTC, they claim, and we agree, that it's 16 times more carbon efficient for anything to go on rail as opposed to road. It's 14 times safer and it's 15% cheaper. But the safeguard mechanism captures us, but it doesn't capture the trucking industry, and it puts an extra impost. So, but there's also this focus in the decarbonisation effort on expensive investments and long-term plays. There's a free kick right now, and I am speaking on behalf of the industry as much as Pacific National, but for every container of anything that goes on rail as opposed to road, instantly it's 16 times more carbon efficient. And there's plenty of capacity. So what we really like to see happen is the government incentivise those who are moving goods between capital cities to actually prioritise rail over road for the decarbonisation benefits as well.
I can't see the con to that. I can see lots of pros. What did the government say, and very quickly, when you put that argument to them?
Yeah, I think that they've got a lot of different voices in their ears about this. So the safeguard mechanism is capturing the 200 biggest emitters in the country, and because rail is very concentrated, there's 2 or 3 big players in rail. We get captured by absolute emissions, not by rate. Road is very fragmented, so because it's that way, they get left out of it. So what we're hoping happens is some sense comes into that, and there's some incentivisation to the shippers to put it on rail.
Okay, we'll keep putting pressure on that.
Sure.
I need to talk to you about Peter V'landys, who is a big personality, chairman of the Rugby League and racing in New South Wales. He's been schmoozing the United States president, trying to sell rugby league to that market. Take a listen. He came on our radio show this morning.
Is this your plan to make this sport massive in the US?
Absolutely. And look, there's 340 million potential viewers. And if we can crack 1%, we actually earn more money in America than we do in Australia. It's all about scale. We're very confident about rugby league. It's the greatest game of all. It's better than that game down in Victoria called FLA, is it?
I was waiting for the
FLA, whatever it's called.
He is incapable of selling his own stuff without negging the AFL or Melbourne racing. You've been a director of the Gold Coast Suns, an AFL club, for I think 13 years. What do you make of all of this?
It's a little bit. I give him credit for his efforts and for what he does, but it's somewhat humorous. But good on him for giving it a go. The AFL's been really, really good in making sure that they coexist with rugby league everywhere. But if you're going to promote sport in the US, and Australian sport in particular, you can't claim to be promoting Australian sport without promoting the most participated game, which is AFL. And if you're while he's over there doing that, and look, I think it'd be marginal. And there's 340 million people in the US, but only 150 of them watch their favourite sport, which is the
That's
Super
a really
Bowl.
good point, actually.
And NRL here has a relatively small percentage compared to others. So they're not looking after their own backyard. And while he's there doing that, In Queensland and New South Wales, where rugby league is really strong, the AFL's flying. The AFL men's competition and the AFL women's competition is flying. Participation rates are going through the roof. They're at record levels. You had the Lions in Brisbane Lions make the grand final, lose by less than a kick. The Gold Coast Suns have what is considered the best list of talent coming through, about to mature, about to add more talent to it. And here in New South Wales, you've got the Swans, who are the biggest football club in New South Wales by followership, by crowds. And then you've got the Giants, who missed out on making the grand final by a kick. So
there's your return of serve.
Absolutely. So whilst he's off doing that, the AFL's in his backyard actually making major inroads. And I think the AFL's got it right.
He better scurry on home then,
Yes,
Mr. Volandis.
absolutely.
Paul Scurrah, thank you so much for your time. As
Thank you,
always,
Aaron.
brilliant.